He is a god of the game.
Surprise, surprise! Football is a team game as both Manchester United and PSG couldn't win their away games against the so-called Minnows even with the GOATs. Barcelona fans were arguing against themselves on whether 3-0 is worse than 8-2. Indian media is gobbling up all the conspiracies on why Virat Kohli stepped down as our T20 captain, whereas it was heartbreak for the Pakistani cricket fans as their tour against New Zealand was called off just minutes before the first ODI. Let's go!
Absolutely world class.
Hello and welcome to episode 32 of Sports Churcha, where we are going to talk about the midweek European games, which is the Champions League, Europa League and WoW. Let's welcome Ishan.
What's up, Bala? That was a good one. I got it 2 seconds later, but it was nice.
It was a very deep one. So before we begin talking about the games, let's settle this one amongst us. See, I'm thinking of keeping Reality Check or Aukat as this particular episode's title. Which one you would prefer?
I think Aukat.
Yeah, it sounds local, kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah, since we started with Aukat, we are talking about the Champions League fixtures that happened during Tuesday night and Wednesday night. So all the 8 groups played, about 16 games. So I'll just quickly, within a minute, run through all the results before we start talking about the major ones. It started off with Sevilla Salzburg 1-1 draw. Young Boys defeated Manchester United 2-1. Lille Wolfsburg 0-0. Villarreal 2, Atalanta 2. Chelsea 1, Zenit 0. Malmo 0, Juventus 3. Barcelona 0, Bayern 3. Dinamo Kiev 0 and Benfica 3. I think these were the Tuesday games. Wednesday, it started with Besiktas 1, Dortmund 2. Sheriff Tiraspol 2. Shakhtar Donetsk 0, Inter Milan 0, Real 1, Atletico Madrid Porto 0-0, Club Brugge PSG 1-1, Liverpool 3, Milan 2, City 6, Leipzig 3, Sporting 1, Ajax 5. Yeah, sorry for taking half a minute of everyone's life by doing that.
Yeah, that sounded like a mantra in a puja.
Actually, yeah, I can think why it is. Okay, to stay true to our episode's title, let's talk about the first game, or the game that we want to talk about, the first one, which is at the Camp Nou. Barcelona 0, Bayern 3. What was your... I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch the entire game. I was switching between this and Chelsea Zenit. You watched a major part of this game. What were your first reactions? As you're a Real Madrid fan, that's well documented. What were your first reactions?
So I just at a higher level, this was probably the least surprising result of all the 2 match days in the Champions League. Everyone, including the Kool-Aids around the world, knew that there is no chance Barcelona has of beating Bayern Munich. There is just a immense, not even a gulf, interplanetary difference in quality between the Bayern team and the Barca team. But people were hoping that it would not be another 8-2. To be honest, I saw every minute of that game. I felt that this was even worse than 8-2. And I'll tell you why. Because 8-2 happened because Barcelona still tried to attack. They still wanted to score, which left their, obviously horrible defense. But left gaps and Bayern, took advantage of that. Here, especially in the second half, I actually felt Bayern slowed down a bit. नहीं यार ठीक है वापस नहीं करेंगे types कर ले ठीक है we understand we feel your pain. It's
almost a long season.
Barcelona in the second half, and that was really sad to watch. And although Barcelona showed some spirit when the youngsters came on, especially Gavi, Demir, and Balde, who's looks to be quite a promising wing back for Barcelona, by the way. But the main squad was just not on that day. They were just inferior to Bayern Munich. It was sad because, as a Barcelona hater, it's sad to see your rival look like this. You never thought you'd see that day, but it is that time right now, and it's, as the episode will say, Aukat nahi thi. Bayern was just playing on a different level.
Barca registered 0 shots on target. It's the first time ever it has happened in a Champions League game ever since the record started being recorded. Like I'm talking about 2002, 2003. But still, it is, I mean, every word you just said, it was pretty much a drubbing. As you said, as you rightly pointed out, this was worse than that 8-2 because in terms of performance, this was really bad. Like, I was just listening to Guillaume Balaguer like before we started recording this. And I read a lot of reports. I went through a lot of famous journalists, famous take on this, but I wanted to listen to this guy because I know, and for the benefit of the listeners, Guillaume Balaguer is one of the leading, or probably the leading Spanish journalist who has contacts at higher level at Barcelona. So he watched the game at Camp Nou, and his observation was that the Barcelona crowd were actually more appreciating and more clapping and encouraging when the youngsters came in. And they booed when players like Busquets, Sergio Roberto, and all these players were getting subbed off. So, and another point, like he made a very, very interesting line. He said that Barcelona are a club who are willing to lose in their own way rather than to win in a way that they don't want. So
that's a very interesting point.
Yeah, he made this like I when he made this, I was like, wow, that's a very, very interesting way of putting it. That's exactly how it was. And we were talking immediately after the game, and I told you, like, see, it is what it is, that the team is where they are, and that's exactly what PK came out and said. In fact, that became like the meme material in Spanish football this weekend, and it's going to be the meme material for a while. You're going to see a lot of memes with PK saying it is what it is. So, but this is from a Champions League standpoint, from the overall Champions League standpoint, I don't think this is going to hurt much because everyone know that Barcelona are going to lose both their games to Bayern. It's the game against the other teams that are going to determine their fate in the Champions League. And to be very honest, the club is at a stage right now. Before the beginning of this season, my expectations were set very clear as a fan. I'm saying like a top 4 finish, a decent fight for the league, put a decent fight in the cup. Cup you obviously always do very well, so you can continue that form and get to probably quarterfinals in Champions League. Uske upar jo bhi hai, it's all gravy on top. So the primary,
I think just to close this topic of having Barca's forward line have Luke De Jong, who I think Bala and I, when we are tied up, can run faster than. Was just strange to see, right? He was not even the first choice centre forward for Sevilla.
Yeah.
And now he's in his first. He just got signed and he started a Champions League game against Bayern Munich. So that is the situation Barca is in. I think, all the fans need to lower their expectations, but the way Barca is playing, nothing is lower than what Barca can go to.
True. Now, to talk about the other episode of Champions League Aukat, let's talk about Young Boys versus Manchester United. They started off the game really well. Ronaldo scored. It was all pretty well. It was all going well. But just when Aaron Wan-Bissaka's red card happened, he was sent off, I got a little bit hooked into the game. So not as a Liverpool fan, I'm not saying it in that way, but in a way that, okay, Ole, so here is a challenge. This is what Champions League is all about. How we are going to react. Now this is not Bayern Munich, this is not PSG, this is Young Boys. And I thought Ole reacted very badly.
I completely agree. The first thing that came out of the match was, excuses regarding it being an AstroTurf pitch, and Wan-Bissaka couldn't control the ball properly, which made him give a lunging tackle. Let's get some facts clear. Wan-Bissaka did a lunging tackle in Young Boys' half.
Yeah.
It was not a defensive game-saving tackle. There was no need for it. Then what happened? Then came the substitutions, which really baffled me. Obviously, Jadon Sancho was the unfortunate sacrificial lamb when Bissaka got sent off, and he was replaced. Then Varane came on. They changed their defensive system in the second half. They replaced Bruno Fernandes as well as Cristiano Ronaldo. They played like a mid-table club who is happy with a 1-0 when you are down to 10 men. And my mind immediately went to how Tuchel handled Chelsea when they went down to 10 men. against Liverpool, and it's a completely different ball game. I agree. It's not Ole's fault that Lingard did what he did. A beautiful, sublime through ball pass to the young boys forward in the last kick of the game. That cannot be controlled by a manager. But please do not tell me that United 10 men down still cannot beat young boys. I think the stats showed that 0 shots on target post Van Bissaka being sent off.
Yeah.
That I feel embarrassing for a team like Man United.
Yeah, but again, as I said, same for Barcelona, from overall Champions League qualification standpoint, this should not affect Manchester United because they still have Villarreal and Atalanta, which ended in 2-2, a draw, actually favored them. But yeah, it is a reality check for United, for the staff, for everyone around that club, that yes, we have great players, but there is still a long way to go to achieve the kind of success they want to achieve.
Two funny stories. One is there was a meme that Ole Gunnar, there was a meme for photo between Ole Gunnar and Cristiano when Cristiano just joined. And Ole says, you won everything, but you haven't won the Europa League. And the second is pretty shocking stat is that 7 defeats in 11 games for Ole for leading Manchester United in Champions League. That's pretty horrible.
Yeah, that's true. There were 14 more games played during the 2 days of Champions League. The next game is Inter Milan versus Real Madrid. Inter 0, Real 1. I didn't watch this game completely, but based on what I read, it looks like more like Inter lost than Real won.
I agree. Meaning I feel it was a very tight game, which was pretty surprising considering it's Ancelotti's Real Madrid. We were pretty solid defensively, at least in the first half. And the first half, Inter Milan were completely under control. Edin Dzeko and Lautaro Martinez missed clear-cut chances, which should have been put away. But in the second half, I think typical Real Madrid style, we took control of the game. And contrary to belief, under Ancelotti, who normally relies on experience, he got in 2 youngsters into the second half, Rodrigo Goes and Camavinga. And in fact, they combined beautifully, to score the clincher in the 87th odd minute. And I think these are important results for Real Madrid because, not like Barcelona, not too much is expected of them. But if you look at the game that have gone by, Real Madrid are top of the La Liga and won their first game against Inter Milan away. So it's a pretty good start for the season for Ancelotti.
Yeah, and talking about Milan clubs, the AC Milan, the other side of Milan, went to Liverpool to play their first Champions League game in 7 years, and they lost the game 3-2. I mean, Liverpool were pretty good. I mean, I thought this would be a tighter game, but Liverpool were far better side, barring that 5-minute brain fade that resulted in 2 extremely well taken AC Milan goals. Liverpool started off without Virgil van Dijk, without Sadio Mane, without Thiago in the midfield. Joel Gomez played his first game after a very long time. So I was a little skeptical, but I would say Klopp had a lot of faith in Origi and Gomez to deliver, and I think they did deliver, and Henderson scored a Gerrardesque goal to win the game 3-2. The other game that should have been a walkover ended in a draw. Club Brugge 1, PSG 1. The first time the MNM started, and they registered less shots than Club Brugge.
Yeah, and I think when I was seeing the ESPN SC show, and one interesting stat that came out was that Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe have still not played a training game 11v11. They only played 3v3 and 5v3, which basically means that they do not have the experience so far right now to play a full strength or game, together and actually understand how each other works. But yeah, meaning Brugge played really well. They were very solid defensively, and they had some really good chances as well. But that's we know about PSG, right? Like, they are very top heavy. They are like the RCB of football this season, where they've got all stars up front, but then they've got Ashok Dinda in their bowling, in their defense. So it's not gonna be that easy. I won't call them clear-cut favorites, but if those three start clicking and score 10 goals, then conceding 5 won't be a problem.
Other interesting results across Europe this week was Besiktas won, Dortmund 2. Haaland had a brilliant game, and Jude Bellingham is getting scarier day by day. He is turning out to be an exceptional player. Sharif 2, Shakhtar 0. Sharif Tiraspol, they are playing Champions League for the first time, and they started off with a very impressive victory where a goal was scored by Adama Traore from an assist from Cristiano. that was one of the highlights of this week for me. Chelsea won, Zenit 0. Sevilla Salzburg had 4 penalties in first half, and only 2 were converted. 2 were saved, as we pointed out. Villarreal 2, Atlanta 2. Juventus finally won their first game. So that's about it for Champions League. Anything for you to cover?
Yes, you literally missed the game of the Champions League match day, Man City versus Leipzig.
Oh, the frantic game of Man City versus Leipzig. It was end-to-end stuff. Leipzig score a goal, then Man City go and score a goal again this side. Like it was really end-to-end stuff. The best part of that game to me was Man City were 4-2 up, and they were absolutely bossing the game. And for some reason, Pep Guardiola calls Jack Grealish to the touchline and literally yells at him, like he's parading him for like five almost 1.5 minutes. I believe he didn't track back for defending or something. I don't know. I mean, that's how when I saw Pep, like, wow, man, such a crazy ass. And how intense of a coach he is, man. You're winning 4-2 and you're yelling at, and Jack Grealish had a fantastic game. You're yelling at the best player, and only Pep Guardiola can do that.
I know only Pep Guardiola can get away with it.
That's also, yeah, very true. But guys, Champions League was insane, man. This week was really good. If this week was an example of all the other coming weeks, we are in for a superb season of Champions League. Europa League, nothing big happened. There were just some usual results, not very surprising. Leicester 2,
I think the key results, I think I can take away the key results. I think the biggest result, as you were saying, was the Napoli Leicester game. Again, the result is very deceptive. Napoli, I saw the game, were absolutely destroyed Leicester. But Leicester surprisingly had a 2-0 lead, which, deservedly so, Napoli equalized. And that game ended. I think the really good result, by the way, is Mr. Mourinho, who continues his unbeaten, amazingly goal-scoring record with Roma. They won 5-1. That was a great result. Another, I think Rangers lost to Lyon 2-0, and Celtic actually had an upset with Real Betis. They were leading that game, and Real Betis came back to win 4-3. So I think those were the key games. Tottenham drew as usual. They are back to being Tottenham.
West Ham,
miserable.
Boys.
Oh yes, West Ham had a great result. Declan Rice, who's again another youngster who's looking to be a world beater, and Michael Antonio scored. Guys, for you guys who don't know, Michael Antonio started off as a left back early in his career, and now he is the highest goal scorer in West Ham history. It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. Great, guys. So that's about it for the European games this week. Look, Europe is done. Now let's move on to our regular business, which is weekend league games. Now this time we are not going to preview every single game across every single league. We are going to talk only about the 4 biggest games of this weekend across all the 5 leagues. So as usual, let's start with English Premier League, where the biggest game of this weekend is obviously the London Derby, where Tottenham are playing against Chelsea. In fact, apart from the football, this game has been marketed as the first zero carbon game, or should I say hashtag Game Zero.
How are they doing it?
So according to what I read, they are basically going to demonstrate the kind of green steps that fans and everyone around the sporting world can take towards making a zero carbon future. Like, for example, taking public transport to commute to and fro from the stadium, less meat products in the club's canteen or in the stadium's canteen and all those things, reusable cups, etc., etc.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, one could see this as a simple PR stunt, or yeah, maybe it does send out a clear message.
I think the only carbon emission that will come out of the game is the smoke after Lukaku smashes 4 goals.
See, Tottenham's defense were really good. They started off really well, but that loss against Crystal Palace would have shaken them very badly. And by seeing how Lukaku is playing against each and every other defense, it's a really a big task for Nuno. Any simple score prediction or any other important point that you want to talk about?
No, I think it's going to be a pretty. I know it's a big London derby, but I think it's going to be one of the easier ones Chelsea plays against Spurs, because Spurs, I think they started off really well, and we knew that there was a fall coming, and it happened really badly against Palace. So I think it's going to be a pretty easy win. Say a 2-0, 2 to 3-0 for Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm definitely saying Chelsea are going to keep a clean sheet, but yeah, I'm also leaning towards a 2-0 Chelsea easy win. Now moving on to La Liga, the biggest game of this weekend is on Sunday night. In fact, the Chelsea-Tottenham game is also on Sunday night, 9 p.m. Indian time. The game I'm talking about is technically 12:30 a.m. Monday. It is the big one. It is the Valencia versus Real Madrid. It's happening at Mestalla. Ishan, if I had said Valencia versus Real Madrid 2 seasons back, you wouldn't have taken it much seriously. But this season, it is a serious game.
Actually, to be honest, every time there is a Valencia versus Real Madrid at the Mestalla, I take it very seriously, because it is one of the historic games in Spanish football, and in the last 5 years we've not done pretty well in the Mestalla. Last year also we lost, the year before also we dropped points. Carlos Soler, who's one of the forwards at Valencia, has scored the most number of goals against Real Madrid since 2006, the others being Luis Suarez and Joselu. So Valencia are a very strong team, but let's be honest, they've not had tough opponents in the beginning of this season, and Real Madrid are going to be there. It's going to be a big test for Bordalas' team. On the Real Madrid side, they are very high in confidence. Their form, they're banging in goals, we're scoring goals for fun, but yeah, we have a leaky defense. So I think it's going to be a Real Madrid win, but it's not going to be a clean sheet. So I'm guessing more of a 2-1, 3-2 kind of game. It's always going to be entertaining at the Mestalla.
I'm guessing this will be a draw, a very, very tightly fought draw. But I'm guessing there won't be a lot of attacking game in this. I'm actually looking forward to a very heavy battle fought in the midfield rather than in individual boxes. But we'll see. I'm going for a draw, a scoring draw, maybe a 1-1 or a 2-2, but a draw. It's just a weird coincidence that all the 4 games we picked to watch this weekend are all on Sunday night. Let's talk about the third one. The big game in Ligue 1, probably the first big test for Pochettino and this new PSG team. They are facing Lyon at home. Now, this Lyon team is without Memphis Depay, we know that, but this Lyon is still a very, very good team. And this PSG is not a very, very good team. We saw that against Club Brugge. This is going to be a good contest.
I still put, I think the big thing coming out of this game is Mbappe won't be playing. And he has been their best player without a doubt this season. With banging in assists and goals. Missing him is missing a key cog in that attacking triumvirate, because he opens up play due to his speed. Now you have Messi and Neymar having similar styles in a way. They both slot into into the hole behind the striker. And so it'll be interesting to see how they do. I think Di Maria will probably get a game, or they'll probably start Icardi as the clear centre forward. I still feel PSG will nick it, but I don't think it's going to be a walkover, because Lyon have always proved to be a bit of a, tester for the PSG team, and their defense is very weak. Let's be very clear about that.
Yeah, and when I say PSG is not very good, yes, they haven't been a team actually still now. In fact, that's exactly what Pochettino said after the game against Club Brugge. He said that we are not a team yet. So I believe Di Maria is the one that's going to gel everyone together. I strongly believe when he gets into the starting lineup, when the midfield looks like Verratti, Di Maria and Paredes, I think PSG will be a different beast altogether. So hopefully we'll get to see all of them playing. I mean, I can understand it's a very heavily assembled team, but yeah, if you see all four of them playing at their level best, they'll be a sight to watch.
Yeah, and no bias involved, but I think they'll become a very good team when Ramos comes back.
No, absolutely, man. Ramos walks into any team, that team's become a better team. There is no bias in that. Now, staying again Sunday night. I don't know, man. I'm very sorry. Sunday night seems to be a very, very big night. I don't think a lot of us. I mean, not me. It's not a problem for me. I don't have office on Mondays. I believe a lot of Indian football fans are going to have a big problem. In Serie A, it is the big one. It is the big one. It is Juve versus AC Milan. Juve, not a single win in the first 3 games. In fact, they lost 2 games. They lost to Napoli last weekend. Milan, 3 wins in 3 games. Incredible start. Yes, they lost against Liverpool, but there is nothing to be ashamed of. They gave a brilliant performance. I am going Milan win.
I agree with you, and I think Milan is definitely coming into this game as a stronger unit. I think Juventus have still not figured a lot of their players out and how they play with each other. Let's be very honest. The game that they lost, they didn't have their Brazilian players, their South American players due to Copa America restriction. All of them would be back. That will probably make their team better, but AC Milan is a young and gun team, man. Like they'll go for Juventus straight from the off, and they've got a really good keeper, man. This Mike Maignan, I love this guy. He's a solid goalkeeper, and he literally won the Ligue 1 last season on his own, and he's a really good signing for AC Milan. So I agree with you, AC Milan to win this game, but I won't be surprised if Juventus win as well.
So it is official. Last week, the last episode, we were talking about this news not being official yet, but it is now. Virat Kohli has announced that he will step down as India's T20 captain. That's the only difference between the rumor and the reality. The rumor said he's not going to be the captain for white ball cricket, but it seems that he's still going to be ODI crickets and Test crickets captain, but he will step down as the T20 captain, and they haven't announced an official captain or replacement yet. I don't think they have, right?
No, they haven't, and I'm still. This all seems very off. The media reported everything last week, which obviously means there was a leak internally. I think Bartomeu has now taken over BCCI. I don't know what happened, but then it was officially they were officially announced today. By the way, guys, there was a lot of hurt in that Bala laugh. Just saying, but they announced it today, but it still didn't seem very legit. So I don't know what the hell is going on. But yeah, you're right. It's guaranteed he's not going to be a T20 captain. I think better late than never, because I always thought there were other players in the team who are better captains in the shorter format of the game, aka Rohit Sharma. But I don't know, man. Is this going to be somebody else? Sunil Gavaskar came out saying KL Rahul should be groomed. Random thoughts are now being headlines. So I don't know. What do you think?
See, media are milking it. Okay, let's also be clear about that. They haven't had any hot news from Indian cricket. In fact, cricket, we all know it's the most famous sport in India, and there hasn't been a big news for media to chew on for a while, and they have got one, and they are going to milk it as much as they can. Now, the one way that BCCI can stop this, that they can come out and be open about it. They haven't given out any official statement yet. And when that top brass is not giving out any official statement yet, the longer you do, that means that the media is going to milk it as long as you are going to keep mute. We just said all valid points at why Virat Kohli should step down as T20 captain. it's a logical decision. It's not an emotional decision. It's not an irrational decision. It's a logical decision. So accept it and move on. Why do you have to make it political? Why do you have to make it a drama? I think that's where I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with the decision, but I just
it's all about the viewership, right? And I thought, and just as a segue to that, I thought, why not we create a rumor ourselves? Guys, we've heard it from inner sources. This is legit information. Anushka Sharma told Kohli that he has to spend more time with the baby, and hence he chose to drop, opt out of being a captain in the shortest form of the game, because that's what logical people do.
Oh God, चलते हैं. हाँ, अगले news 8 बजे देख लीजिए. We'll put like a Hindi, like a nice
baby के drama.
रोते रोते पापा को घर बुलाया. Oh God. But yeah, it's a logical decision, and Rohit Sharma looks like the obvious choice. Yes, Sunil Gavaskar has come out and given his thoughts on it, but I believe BCCI have already decided that. Now this is again another drama that's going on, that BCCI have already decided to kick him out after the T20 World Cup, and Virat Kohli kind of took a step. Virat Kohli tried to be one step ahead of BCCI, and he himself came out that he is leaving. So, as I said, as long as BCCI is going to keep mum, these kind of stories are going to start creeping over all again. But yeah,
if ever cricket had changing nationalities like a transfer season, this would have been Messi doing a burofax what Kohli did.
That's true. It's close to that. It's very close to that. Now, talking about crazy events in cricket, we just saw the news. I think I saw the news today evening that the New Zealand tour of Pakistan has been cancelled due to quote-unquote security threats. I haven't gone through much about this. I didn't read much details into this. Were there any more details?
So I read up a bit about this. This, by the way, the series was called off about 5 minutes before the first ball was going to be bowled. And the entire, the reason New Zealand came and agreed to tour Pakistan was due to the amazing security precautions the Pakistani, the PCB and the government had taken. And so I find it a little surprising that just before a match is going to start, you call off, when calling off a match was, due to a security, there has to be some legit threat, which is, it just makes everything a little scary and very real. And I understand calling off the New Zealand Cricket Board, then as a result, obviously calling off the tour. So very sad, because to be honest, Pakistan is a great place to play cricket. As Indian fans, we've had some amazing memories touring Pakistan in the Test series, and their fans are great. Like, it's amazing to watch, and it's just sad for them, local people there who would have not had access to watch live cricket for so many years. So it's sad for them, but yeah, safety comes first.
Yeah, even it sounded a little fishy, but yeah, we'll have to wait for more reports on what exactly happened. It is very, very unfortunate for Pakistan cricket, who started hosting some games, I think starting last year or something like that, but then this has...
But this is the number 1 test team in the world, right, coming, so that's a big thing.
That is true. Alright guys, that's about it for today's episode. So we'll come back with the next episode after watching all the weekend games for you guys, especially those Sunday night games we were just talking about. We'll try to watch all 4 of them in multiple screens and let you know how those games went, and all the other games too. So until then, it's bye from Bala.
And bye from Ishan, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and also please, like we are literally begging, to rate our podcast on whichever app you are listening to. It not only helps us, but also helps new listeners to find our podcast easily. You can also reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram @SportsCharcha. A big shout out to the Jam Room Audio for our theme music. You can follow the Jam Room on Facebook @the Jam Room Audio. Bye.